Hello and welcome once again. And today we're continuing our series on stress in teenagers, and we'll be talking specifically about what the side effects are of stress for teenagers. So stay tuned as we discuss that in this video. In this video, we're going to be covering the mental and physical aspects of stress on teenagers. We're going to be looking at its impact on the cognitive functioning, behavioral functioning, the physical symptoms, all of those things that kind of go into what stress does to you. We'll cover it all in this video. There's one thing that we know, the research is clear. Stress, chronic stress is not good for you. Not good for the body. It's not good for the brain. Teenagers, still developing, growing, their brain's developing. When they are under chronic stress, feeling the stress and the emotion of stress for extended periods of time, typically we're looking, if it's going on for more than 2 weeks, we've got some real red flags there, right? When that's happening, the brain is being impacted. When the brain's impacted, it impacts the body, the whole messaging systems and the chemicals that are being produced. Long-term stress for anybody has long-term health consequences, and that's especially true the earlier it starts, right? So if you think about a teenager who's experiencing chronic stress and they don't learn how to deal with it, they're holding on to it, they get stuck in the emotion of it, and it keeps going and going and going. Anxiety and depression and the physical symptoms, all this stuff begins to wear on them, and it has detrimental impact on their overall health and well-being, productivity, relationships, everything. Emotions are going to be your red flag, whether stress is kind of getting to them. There are, again, I've said this in another video, but you're looking for the emotional aspect, you're looking for their energy levels and their engagement, right? And those 3 E's, you're looking for changes in those in particular. Emotion is going to be one of the big ones, right? Are they more irritable? Are they more moodier? Are they acting out behaviorally because, quickly anger, reactive, that sort of kind of emotionality that reflects in their behavior? All those are going to be the red flags. If you have changes in their energy level, their engagement level, or emotion, 2 of those 3 that are noticeable changes in them, big red flags, right? If one of those areas is really extreme changes, big red flag. That's what you want to be looking for as a parent, is those sort of changes in their behavior. Then you can begin to try to ascertain exactly what's going on and, the avenue, the road to take to help your teen. One way stress impacts teenagers is through cognitive functioning. When you're stuck in the emotion of stress, you don't perform as well. That's absolutely true academically, as well as it is in any other area. It really impairs executive functioning, right? Which is that whole ability to manage your time, space, and all that. Now, middle school years in particular, it can be challenging for students in this area, right up into high school. Then you add stress on top of that, and it can really add a whole nother layer of difficulty. I could tell you about a student in particular that there's a lot going on at home. This child was feeling stress about their own, didn't fit in, right? Felt like picked on, misunderstood, didn't have friends. You try to go to school every day when you don't feel like you're connected. There's no relationships there. There's things going on at home that, in his world was stressful. He just being nagged all the time by his parents, and too many rules, and trying to live up to expectations and all these things. So this child's feeling stress in both school and home. Struggled academically, struggled behaviorally, acted out a lot, just cognitive, not just the cognitive functioning academically, and he was a very, very bright student, but trying to manage his life, right? Not being able to plan things out and manage his space and his time, which then adds stress, Well, he was such a wreck. He came to us, our program, even though there's a lot of red flags that our program might not be right for him. And quite honestly, we almost decided that no, he's got too many issues. I won't go into what changed that, but there's a sudden change there. And we began to be able to then work with him and make some changes. But he was really, really having troubles in school because of the stress he was feeling. We began to deal with that and all the mindset stuff, and he began to blossom, and everything began to change relationships, everything. So, when teens are feeling stress, chronic stress in particular, they have an increased likelihood of really risky behaviors and acting out. When you're feeling that stress and you don't know how to kind of handle it, you have no tools or skills to know what to do with it, you can become very reactive. You can lash out at people. It may manifest itself in seeking help without really knowing how to do that by doing really risky behaviors. So whether it is then trying to self-medicate through drugs and alcohol use, whether it's cutting and picking at your skin a lot, those things are obvious signs of high stress. Those sort of symptoms are something you need to really notice right off. You've got to try to become aware of those because, again, it's teenagers not understanding what's going on. They aren't feeling right. They've got all this stress. And when it's happening for an extended period of time, they begin to try to deal with it in some way. And very often the behaviors aren't healthy, aren't helpful. The more extreme the stress or chronic the stress, the more likely you've got these high risk behaviors. Chronic stress, high levels of stress, going to manifest itself physically, right? It can come from things like diarrhea, constipation, or extreme hay fever, to being sick more regularly, low energy levels, to rashes on your skin. It can manifest itself in so many different ways. But when you are under physical stress, particularly chronic stress, your immune system's taking a hit. When the immune system takes a hit, you are more likely to get sick. And then again, it can manifest itself in so many different physical symptoms. So being aware of, again, anything like that, any changes like that, that would be a red flag. There's something going on there. Could very well be stress related. Our gut biome, we're learning so much about that, and how nutrition can actually help heal this. Heal's not the right word, not the word I wanted to use, but really help us deal with the stress, but how stress can also mess up the gut biome and it makes things worse, right? It just that the communication between the gut brain and the rest of the body is powerful, and we're learning more and more about that. So, nutrition can actually be one of the avenues we try to go about fixing that. Let me tell you about my own experience, right? So when I was a kid, I was perfectionist in many ways. I was driven to be the best. I hated to lose. Didn't always manifest itself well at all, right? So I was involved in sports and all. Back in those days, you're playing backyard baseball, organized baseball, playing. I was a skier, played basketball, like everything, right? And baseball in particular, back in those days, we played baseball like all the time, a lot. And when I was like, even back to the little league days is when it was first began to start, and I was pretty good. All right, and one of the better guys on my team, made little league all-star team, and we had a really good all-star team that did really well in the tournament. But when I was out in the field or at the bat, I'm involved, I'm moving, so I'm not like, things are cool. But as soon as I'm coming to the bench and I'm waiting my turn to hit or game's going on, I started scratching my knee. I developed what was called neurodermatitis. I had this big rash on my knee. And I would whenever I was in a nervous situation, stress situation, boom, I would scratch that. That lasted for years. When I finally got kind of done with my athletic career in college, uh, it actually switched, and I began to develop this eye around or this rash on my eyelids. I began to understand a little bit later, as I began to understand stress, inflation of the body, and all this. My stress level then was academic oriented, and that was now manifesting itself in these itchy eyes and these rashes on my eyes. So that's something for you to kind of pay attention to. And very often those sort of symptoms can can indicate the type of stress you're experiencing. Well, that wraps up another one. And again, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel, check out all the other videos. As I always do, I'm also going to encourage you to register for our free webinar, Emotional Hygiene. That will go a little bit more in depth than some of these skills that you use to manage your stress or have your team manage your stress. So I encourage you to do that, and I will see you in the next video.